the girl was forced to repeat, "I love you," 800 times to the boy she disliked the most. But after listening to her, he still called her by the wrong name. The girl smiled faintly, thinking the boy was indeed very annoying. What made her even angrier was that the boy, who was sitting right next to her, completely ignored her beauty. Even when their gazes accidentally met, his eyes always looked past her to somewhere else. As the acknowledged beauty of the school, the girl could not tolerate the boy's attitude. But in order to maintain her good image, she still had to smile politely. In addition to that, the girl was always actively taking on various tasks. But on this particular evening, as the girl waited for the driver to pick her up as usual, she made several phone calls, only to find that no one answered. She had no choice but to walk home alone. However, just as she was approaching her house, two men suddenly appeared and tightly covered her mouth. When she felt desperate, she saw the boy she disliked the most. But before she could ask for help, she was dragged away by the two men. When the girl woke up again, her hands and feet were tied, and her mouth was gagged. The man beside her laughed, revealing that they were kidnappers who had abducted the girl to extort ransom from her wealthy father. Seeing this all too familiar scene, the girl couldn't help but shed tears. But the kidnappers not only had no intention of letting her go, they also directly exposed the secret the girl had been hiding. It turned out that 3 years ago, the same thing had happened. At that time, the culprit was a stalker who had been following the girl, and that experience had left a deep shadow on her. And just at that moment, a figure descended from the sky. He called himself the trendy thug killer and wore a funny green mask. Then, the killer easily knocked down one of the kidnappers. But just at that moment, a more powerful enemy appeared. He pulled out a dagger and quickly drove the killer back. Immediately after, the killer picked up a crowbar and charged at the kidnapper, directly breaking his arm. At the same time, the kidnapper recognized the killer's identity. It turned out that the killer had once defeated all the thugs in the city with just a crowbar. Realizing that he couldn't beat the killer, the kidnapper hurriedly lunged to grab a gun. But just as he was about to get it, the killer's crowbar blocked him. After the killer had done everything, he raised his dagger and swung it directly at the girl. Afterwards, the girl, who had regained her freedom, returned home. And the next day, the girl became the beautiful rich young lady again. She enjoyed everyone's adoration as usual and, when facing the boy she disliked the most, she still repeated her name. But to her surprise, this time the boy actually called her by the right name and even smiled at her.